We're live? We're live. Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome to day one of the Dream Big Intensive. I'm going to take a few minutes to explain the format of the class to you, some important things that everybody here should know before we start taking our journey together. The first thing I want you to know is class will begin every day at 7 sharp. If none of you are here, I will start at 7 sharp. If all of you are here, I will start at 7 sharp. There is no exceptions. So today, because they were setting up, we have an extra 5 minutes taken. That will not happen again, inshallah. I'll be here. Actually, my plan is to be here by 6 o'clock every day. And I will be here setting up, making sure everything's going well. The Asr prayer here happens at 6:30. And right after the Asr prayer, I'm going to be back here, so about 6:40 or so. And those first 20 minutes, if you have extra questions, something on your mind, something you'd like to share, you have 20 minutes of freedom to ask me anything you like. That's not going to be on the mic. It'll be casual, so you can just ask any questions you like, any discussion you want to have. That's your opportunity. Okay? That's between 6:40 and 7 p.m. 7 p.m., we start. Now, yes? The flyer lied. I'm telling the truth. Okay, it's 7 p.m., okay? And that's going to happen every day, inshallah. I need the entire time. That's just what it is. The second thing, this is not a lecture. This is a class. In a khutbah, you're not supposed to speak because your good deeds get taken away. In salah, you're not supposed to speak because you're in ibadah to Allah and you've cut off from the world. This is not a khutbah. This is not a lecture. This is not a YouTube video. This is a class. You know what that means? You can interrupt me at any time. You don't even have to raise your hand. Ustad, I'm confused. I have a question, etc. Anytime. I will not lose my train of thought. I will not get upset with you. It is your job to stop me, like right now. You can't hear me? You can't hear me clearly. Okay, they're saying there's too much bass on the mic. They can't hear me clearly, even though you did hear that. Okay. You're trying hard to hear? Okay. Is this better? That's really loud though. Okay, it's less echo. Okay, fine, I'll hold it closer. Okay, so the first thing is, what time are we starting? And when am I here for extra questions? 6 Asr onwards, I'm all yours, okay? 10 o'clock is the Isha prayer here. After 10 o'clock, I'm gonna run out of here as fast as I can because I wanna go home, okay? So you have me for that time, and then after that, after I pray Isha here, I'm gonna jet to my car and drive back and go to sleep because I need to bring my best energy to you the next day, inshallah, okay? Now, this is an Arabic class. What that means is, your questions cannot be about mortgages and Islamic financing and nail polish and beard length and or halal meat or McDonald's. They cannot be about that. Why? Because this is what? An Arabic class, and my job is to do the best I can to teach you the curriculum that I've developed in the best possible way. So I have to be 1,000,000% focused, and I expect that from you. That's the second thing. The third thing, homework. This is important. You don't have any because I don't trust you. Even if I gave you homework, you won't do it. You know when you give people homework the next day, the people that have a big smile on their face are the ones that are like, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. I didn't do it. Many of you are working. Many of you have responsibilities at home. Making this sacrifice in the evenings is hard enough work. I do not expect you to have the time and focus to be able to do any homework assignments in this time. In fact, we're spending so much time together, this will feel like a continuous nightmare. I call it the dream program, but it's actually a nightmare. You feel like you never left. That's what it's going to start feeling like when you come back every day, okay? And there's plenty of review incorporated into the program already. So, the next thing, taking notes during the class. Taking notes. Don't take notes. Don't take, until I tell you to take notes, don't take notes. Some of you you've never taken notes in your life. Your old notebooks from college and high school look like ancient drawings in a cave. That's what you were doing sitting in the classroom. Others of you, meaning the sisters, write everything down. You guys write everything down. You're like, if I sneeze, you write down Alhamdulillah. Like that's your chronic note-taking. Stop. Because note-taking sets your brain on dictation. You're just trying to capture every word. You're actually not thinking about what I'm saying. You're too focused on trying to write everything down because your anxiety that you'll forget later on. I understand your anxiety, and I've designed this course taking that anxiety into account. I will take much better notes than you for this class. And for every single day, I've taken really nice notes already. And I will share them with you every night. At the end of the class, you're going to get an email, all of you that are signed up, you're going to get an email, even the folks that are online, you're going to get an email with a summary of that day's class. It's called a transcript. So there's going to be, before 10 p.m., around 9:55 p.m., you'll get transcript day 1. Tomorrow you'll get transcript day 2, and so on and so forth. I don't give you homework, you know that, right? But casually, if you just read through that document the next day, first allow yourself to sleep, overcome the trauma of the class, allow yourself to forget a little bit, and then the next day, sometime before this class, if you just get a chance to read through that a little bit, it'll bring everything back. And then you're ready for the next day, optimal performance. Okay, now, I don't ask you to take notes for another reason, because I don't trust your handwriting. If I gave you something to write in Arabic, chances are you can't even read it yourself later on. Because you wrote Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim and it looks like Mandarin. So anything that had to be written down in Arabic, I have already written it down for you. So you don't have to worry about that. Your focus is on concepts. That's what what am I doing in this orientation? I'm telling you all the stresses that you have to let go of. Because I need you focused on one thing, all your energy on one thing. And anything that gets in its path, I'm removing those obstacles from your path, okay? Now, I told you don't take notes until when? Till I tell you. Why? Because sometimes it takes me 10 minutes to explain a concept. When I'm done explaining the concept, I will make you write down 2 sentences about that concept. 1 or 2 sentences. But because you have the background of those 10 minutes, that 1 sentence or those 2 sentences are enough for you to remember everything we discussed. You with me? If I gave you that sentence in the beginning, you have no idea what I just told you to do. But at the end, even that 1 sentence is the world. It'll be systematic for you that way, okay? Now here's some other important things. How many people have studied some Arabic before or tried? Okay, good. So how many people have studied with me before? A handful of you, okay. All right, so this is for everyone now. I wanted to get a gauge. You should be able to read the Quran in Arabic even if you don't understand it for this class. Even if your tajweed is not perfect, even if your ayn and your dad and your qaf are not perfect, you should still at least be able to read through the text. I will not be teaching you that. I'm building on top of that, right? So now I have to talk to you about what exactly we're going to be doing, and to understand that, I want you to know that there are 3 kinds of Arabic. Good, nobody's writing down. Okay, good. Spoken, standard, and classical. I just want you, don't write this down, just listen. There's 3 kinds of Arabic. What did I say here? Spoken, standard, and classical, okay? I'm gonna take that off the screen. 3 kinds of Arabic. Spoken? That's not the order I gave you, no. Spoken, standard, okay. English is spoken all over the world. But the English people speak in England is not the same as the English people speak in Scotland. And the English that they speak in Guyana, which is very different from the English that people speak in the West Indies, which is very different from the Americans, and the English people speak in Texas is very different from the English people speak in New York. I can tell you, the people that speak English in the South have a very different kind of vocabulary than the people that speak English in Massachusetts and in Boston area. English goes through lots and lots of changes, doesn't it? Okay? Well, you know what? The Arabic that people speak in Algeria is very different from the Arabic that people speak in Morocco, which is significantly different from the Egyptians, which is very different from the Yemenis, which is very different from the Sudanese. All of them have a different dialect of Arabic. What kind of Arabic is that? Spoken Arabic. Spoken Arabic. Urdu speakers here. People speak Urdu in Karachi. People also speak Urdu in Lahore. People also speak Urdu in Faisalabad. But is there a difference? Can you tell from one sentence? Han, ji main Faisalabad. Like, can you tell immediately, that dude's not from Karachi. I can tell. This guy's not from there. From the English, you can just tell immediately, right? And from the Urdu, you can tell immediately. From the Arabic, you can tell immediately. That's spoken Arabic. Guess what we are not learning in this class? Spoken Arabic. We're not learning that in this class. There are many wonderful programs that teach that sort of thing across the United States in different universities. You can specialize in dialects. You can learn the Iraqi accent. You can learn the Egyptian Arabic. You can learn them. There are proper studies in that. However, we're also not going to be learning standard Arabic. Let me tell you what standard Arabic is. It's similar to standard English. An article written in the New York Times, and an article published by the BBC in England, and an article published in an Indian newspaper in English, and an article written in a Bangladeshi English medium newspaper or website are all what kind of English? Standard. Anybody can read that and understand it despite their differences in language. You understand? There's a common English. You can read a British author, you can read an American author, you can read a Scottish author, you can read an African author if they wrote their book in what? It's standard English. That's the common English. So Arabic also has a common Arabic. That's the standard Arabic. That's the Arabic you find in newspapers. It's the Arabic you find on media channels, Al Jazeera, etc. That's standard Arabic, okay? That's the Arabic you find in the beginning of the khutbah, formal interviews, formal discussions. Those are standard Arabic. Also, I will not be teaching you standard Arabic. I'm going to be teaching you the building blocks of something else called what? Very good. Classical Arabic. Classical Arabic. You know what that means? By the end of this class, you still cannot order some baklawa from an Arab restaurant in Arabic, because you can't use classical Arabic over there. Now, how many kinds of Arabic are there? And what are we going to begin to learn in this class? Classical Arabic. Now, let's take another step. Let me make this bigger. 4 skills. Question? I will explain. Good question. What is the difference between standard and classical Arabic? What is the difference between English today and English at the time of Shakespeare? Is there a difference? Over time, the expressions, the grammar, the sentence structure, did it go through changes? The base stayed the same, but some things were differently said and differently spelled in Shakespearean English that is no longer alive or relevant today, right? So you don't go to Starbucks and say, "Hast thou possesseth a grande?" You can't use that anymore because that English is for that time. Do you understand? So what happens to every language is over time, as the world changes and different societies interact and technology changes, language changes. In fact, that happened to English even now. Standard English now, if you say to somebody that the president tweeted something insane, the president tweeted something insane. If somebody said that 30 years ago, and they wrote a piece, the president tweeted something insane, would that make any sense? 30 years ago, 40 years ago, would it make sense? No. Why? Because the technology had an impact on the language. If somebody told you in the early 90s, hey, you know, I saw your Facebook. You would think they're a serial killer and they have a collection of cut-out pictures of you, and that doesn't make any sense because the technology didn't exist, so these words did not exist, you understand? And the way we're using them didn't exist. The Arabic at the time of the Quran, the world was a certain way, and the Arabic was a certain way. Did the world keep changing ever since? And as the world kept changing ever since, do you think the changing world has an impact on language? Right? So the standard keeps shifting as the world shifts. When I say classical Arabic, I'm trying to take you back to the standard of Arabic before Islam won, before Islam became victorious. Because actually for language, before I go to this, before Islam became victorious, Arabic was preserved in the desert, wasn't it? And then when Islam became victorious, we started taking over Roman territory and Persian territory and Asian territory and African territory. And all these different cultures are now accepting Islam, and they're all learning Arabic. Maybe 1,500 years ago, people are learning Arabic like you're sitting here learning Arabic, right? Is their Arabic high level or is it low level when they're starting? It's low level. And over time, the overall sophistication of Arabic is going down. Because the majority of the people are not Arab. And they don't have the classical tongue. Just think of the way, what local languages do we have here? Call out some languages that your grandmother speaks. I want to hear the grandmother's language. What are they? Punjabi? Bangla? Gujarati? Pashto? Urdu? Kashmiri, Farsi, Tashakur. Anybody else? No other languages here? English, Tamil. Is it true that your grandmother's language was more sophisticated than the grandkids' language? Right? Did it change? Did they have a wider vocabulary? Did they appreciate poetry more? Did they have more grand words and verbs to use in their language? And we just became like lesser. So over time, language, what happens to it? It gets simpler. And the ancient language was more rich and more dense and more poetic and more philosophical. And the Arabs, they were out in the desert. They were out in the desert, in the middle of nowhere. And they had, you may have heard this before, the Arabs were really proud of their language. You ever heard that before? One of the reasons the Arabs were so proud of their language is they didn't have anything else to be proud of. What are they going to be proud of? What did they build? What Colosseum did they build? What pyramids did they build? Before Islam, what were the Arabs doing? They were Bedouins. And they had some empires that collapsed, but overall, the Arabs were an isolated people, especially in Hijaz. They were an isolated people. They were doing some trade, but they were no superpowers. They were not players on the world scene. So they were isolated. And they were in, what kind of a climate is Hijaz? What kind of an environment, natural environment is it? It's desert. In the desert, do you have a lot of scenery or a lack of scenery? You have a lack of scenery. You get to see the stars a lot. You get to see the desert, but not much else. So you know what happens in that environment? Your imagination is filled with the stars. Your imagination is filled with the desert landscape. You come up with 100 different words for the horse. You come up with lots of different words to describe a camel and a sword. Right? You have entire genres of poetry dedicated to the stars, naming each star. This is what they did because their imagination became wild because they were living in such an isolated kind of world. isolated kind of environment. When Islam won, did it stay like that? No, we became an international, multicultural, multi-continental religion, didn't we? So the language is getting affected, isn't it? I'll give you as a joke, but it's reality, some of the worst English spoken on planet Earth is spoken in New York City. It was also spoken in London. Some of the worst on earth. You know why? Because these cities became cultural centers where people from all over the world flew in. So they were all learning English as a second language. And so the overall English went down, and it keeps going down, it keeps going down. Some of the worst Arabic you will ever hear in your life is in Makkah. Some of the worst Arabic. Why? Why is the worst Arabic in Makkah? I was so excited the first time I went to Makkah after studying Arabic. I was like, أخيراً أجد الفرصة لأتحدث اللغة العربية مع العرب في بلاد القرآن بمكة. And I go and I see a Senegalese woman arguing with a Bangladeshi customer at one of those shops. And the Bangladeshi guy, and she's Senegalese, he's Bangladeshi, and she's saying to him, "Panch riyal, panch riyal, panch riyal." What's going on here? And then I went to an Arab. I didn't know where to go. I lost my way, couldn't find the hotel, couldn't get data on my phone. I said, "Ayn al-funduq?" He goes, "Intaliq sida." Sida is not Arabic. When I say classical, I mean the Arabic before Islam became victorious. Basically, Arabic before it got contaminated by other cultures. You understand? And actually, this was one of the most important preservation movements in early Islam. We didn't just preserve the Quran, we didn't just preserve Hadith, we actually made an equally powerful movement to preserve the Arabic of the desert. Not the Arabic of Baghdad, not the Arabic of Kufa, not the Arabic, in Basra, but the Arabic in the Hijazi desert. How are the Bedouins talking? How do they use that word? You may have heard romanticized stories about scholars who spent 20 years traveling the desert to seek ilm. One of the ilm they were seeking, one of the knowledge they were seeking is just to sit around and watch people talk. Just so they can document, they use that word this way, they use this word this way, they use this word this way. And we documented entire lexicons like Lisan al-Arab and Al-Bahr al-Muhit. One day you'll get there. So what happens when you study a word in the English dictionary? You study a word in the English dictionary, you go to the dictionary, it tells you what it means and how many ways you can use it. When you go to an Arabic lexicon, you'll see the word, and then you'll see the way the Arabs in the deserts used to use it. And then somebody found a poem in which they use that word and the different variations of that word. You get an entire story of that word. Every word becomes a story. That's what kind of Arabic? Classical Arabic. That's classical Arabic. And standard Arabic and classical Arabic have a millennium and a half between them. So they have many things in common, but many things are also what? Different. Many things are, the base is the same. The base is the same. But classical Arabic is much more rich. Yes, question? Okay, so it seems like classical Arabic is way more complicated and harder to learn. So why wouldn't they just make it easy? Yes, it's dead. Islam kept it alive. The Quran kept it alive. But what scholarship did in Islam is amazing. We preserved the ancient grammar, we preserved the ancient vocabulary, and we passed it down generation after generation. So even a scholar studying in India, a scholar studying in Indonesia, a scholar studying in Taiwan, a scholar studying anywhere in the world, when they're studying Arabic, they go back to what sources? The classical sources. Now the problem was, the classical sources are classical sources. They're really hard. They're really hard, really complicated stuff. My mission is to start you off at the super basic level, build your foundation, and get you ready for more and more difficult challenges. But by the time you get to the hard stuff, it's already easy for you because the foundation is solid. And the hardest part of the entire classical Arabic journey, I would argue the hardest part is two things. You're not taking any notes yet. No notes yet. The hardest part of classical Arabic study are two things called nahu and sarf. That's the hardest part. Everything else after that, piece of cake. Don't write this down. Haram alaik. No. The hardest part of learning Arabic is what two things? Nahu and sarf. Okay, now you already know how to read the Quran, but you want to take your first steps, you got to learn these two weird words, nahu and sarf. Question? Classical. So, what does nahu and sarf mean? Arabic is actually two things. Or the hardest part of it is two things, nahu and sarf. Let me tell you what nahu and sarf mean, basically. I'm going to write an English sentence down for you. Okay. I was teaching Arabic, my class was late, they avoided eye contact with me. Because latecomers, they just, right? Okay. Where are the words for myself? I. Where else? My. Me. Me. No, theys, we don't have pronoun confusions here. The three pronouns for myself are I, my, and me. That's it. Okay? So, now, if you had a picture next to the word I, it would be my picture. If you had a picture next to my, it would be my picture. If you had a picture next to me, it would also be my picture. So maybe I should say, my was teaching Arabic. I class was late. They avoided eye contact with my. What would be the problem with it? By the way, if you spoke like that, somewhere in Jackson Heights, somebody understands you in New York. Okay? However, what would be the problem with this? If I move them around. You know what the problem would be? You're using incorrect nahu. Ooh, new word for you. You're using incorrect what? Nahu is basically grammar. Nahu is basically what? Grammar. Okay? So if I say, I teached it so goodly. Okay, I teached it so goodly. That would be bad what? That's bad nahu. You with me? The hardest thing about classical Arabic is what? Getting the nahu right, grammar right. Okay? Then. But I gave you two words that are hard. What are the two words? Nahu and what? Sarf. I'm going to give you not Arabic sarf example, I'll give you an English sarf example. Somebody says, what do you do for a living? And I say, I am a teachaminator. What should I have said? I'm a what? Teacher. Well, the word is teach, and if you do the act of teaching, you become a teacher. But I had just seen when I was influenced by the movie Terminator, so I wanted to become a teachaminator. Okay? Or somebody says to a scholar, what do you do? And he says, I am an academician. You could be an academic, or you could be an academician. You know what that is? That's not bad nahu. Well, you know what that is? That's bad what? That's bad sarf. The word should have been academic, but you're making it into academician and teachaminator. You with me? Sarf means there's a system by which you create new words. And you have to learn that system to know when are you going to use teacher and when are you going to use academic. You with me? That's a problem of not nahu, but a problem of sarf. So nahu is more about the sentence, isn't it? Nahu is more about the sentence, and sarf is more about the word. Right? Using the right word would be sarf. Using the right kind of word in the right kind of sentence, that would be what? That would be nahu. Okay, nahu. Nahu is how do you use the right word in the right place, in the right sentence. So it's more focused on the sentence. Okay, now, last part of the introduction. This has been long enough of an introduction. 4 skills to learn any language. I'm going to take your vote on this. There are 4. There's no 5th. I want to hear from you. What do you think are the 4 skills? If you had them, I would say you know that language. Okay, I'll say listening comprehension. Not just listening, but listening, because you could listen to an Arab talk to you and you'd be like, I mean, you're listening, but without comprehension. So I would say the first one is what? Listening, comprehension. Okay, second one? Reading, because you're reading Quran right now too, right? Thank you. Reading with comprehension. Isn't it? Because reading without comprehension, mashallah, the ummah is very good at it. We're very good at it. Okay? What do you think the third one is? Speaking, I would say properly. Because you could come up with some mixed salad of Arabic and say, you know, just whatever words you know in Arabic, you could just say and say, I speak good Arabic, brother. You want to say, I need to go to hotel. Mashallah, alhamdulillah, hotel, haza, wa inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. I said it in Arabic. So you could make word salad, but you're not speaking. I'm saying speaking what? Properly. Yes, young man? Ah, very good. Writing properly. Excellent job. Writing properly. That's it, 4. 4. Listening comprehension, reading with comprehension, speaking properly, and writing properly. Okay. So if you were learning Spanish, these 4 skills, you're good at Spanish. You have these 4 skills in German, you have these 4 skills in Farsi, Arabic, doesn't matter, these are the 4 skills. If you go to any university and get a degree in a language, what skills will they focus on? All 4. Isn't that true? How many people here in the computer science or the tech industry at all? Okay, here's a question for you. 2 of these are data input, and 2 of these are data output. Can you tell me which 2 of these are data input and which 2 of these are data output? Yes, young man? Very good. Listening and reading is data input. The information is going in your ear. The information is going through your eyes. The data is going inside you, right? And you're processing it and making sense of it. And which 2 are output? Speaking properly, you have to produce a sentence. You have to come up with something yourself. And writing, you have to come up with something yourself. You with me? The first 2 are what? Input. The second 2 are output. Excellent. By the way, what time is Maghrib? I want to keep track of time. 8:15? Okay. I better be done with this intro quickly. This is the longest intro I've ever done. Because I want to get right to work. We haven't started any work yet. But I do want you to have the right base and understanding. Okay, so if you're studying Arabic as a Muslim, and I would argue the number 1 motivation you have is you want to feel something when you hear the Quran being recited. And you want to feel something when you read the Quran. You want to connect with the text either when listening or when reading. So when we want to work on our Arabic as Muslims, even though it's nice to have all 4 skills, which 2 skills become a priority? Listening and reading become a bigger priority, and the more those skills develop, we start feeling like more of a connection with the Quran. Now, what a lot of language programs do is they start with speaking and writing. So they'll teach you, my name is this, I love chicken, what's your name, do you love chicken, etc. So when they do that, you feel good because you're producing what? Output. But after a year of studying that, you open the Quran and you still don't feel yourself connected to what? The language. Because your focus was not input, your focus was output. And plus, those kinds of programs are always teaching standard Arabic first. Because standard Arabic is what we use among Muslims today. I speak standard Arabic to a good extent. I communicate with my Arab friends in standard Arabic. That's how I talk to them, or I write them emails and communicate with them. But to me, for my students, that is a later priority. I will get you there, but if that's what you're really interested in, you want to be able to speak in Arabic and write in Arabic, and that's your focus, then you're in the wrong class. The purpose of this class, I call it the Dream Big program, because I believe the dream of the majority of the ummah is to connect directly to the Quran when the Quran is being recited. You with me? So our focus is going to be on listening and reading. So far, so good? So I'm going to erase the bottom two. Now you understand why I'm not making you write anything down. Why not? Because it's not your focus. I'm not making you speak any Arabic, because that's not your focus. Your focus is the top two. Now, between those two, let me ask you this. I'll take your vote on this too. Which one do you think is harder, listening and understanding or reading and understanding? Which one is harder? Good. Listening is harder. Does anybody have any thoughts on why that's harder? Time. There's a hand back there, young man. Go ahead. Speak out loud. What did he say? They can't hear me? They talk weirdly? The speed. The Qari is going, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. And you just learned ذَلِكَ in the class, and you're like, ذَلِكَ. And he's 3 rukus later, Allahu Akbar. You're like, ذَلِكَ though. He's not like, ذَلِكَ. You got that? That was in class. Al-kitabu. By the way, that's Rafa. La rayba. La. You remember la? You remember la? Everybody's good with la? Okay, rayba. Does the Qari do that? No. He's moving at the speed that he's moving. And you can't keep up because you're still taking the time to process. Your processor is still slow. But when you are reading, who decides the speed? You do. Dhalika. I'm just going to stay here for a little bit. Dhalika. Okay. Let me open up my notes. I got this. Next word. By the time the Taraweeh is over, you're done with ayah number 1. Right? So I'm not concerned with listening too much yet. I am more concerned with what? Reading. Because once your reading gets really good, naturally, you know what's going to start happening? Your listening is start to get good. It's going to start to getting better and better. So we started with 4 skills, and we're down to what? 1, which makes our ability to focus in this class all the more easy. Well, let me ask you, I've been talking about a lot of things, but this is a class, not a khutbah. How many kinds of Arabic are there? What are they? Spoken, standard, classical. Which one are we going to start to learn? Good, classical. What are the hardest things to learn about classical? Nahu and sarf. One of these is about how a word is spelled. About how a word is spelled. Which one is that? Good, sarf. One of these is about how a sentence works. That's nahu. Nahu is, by the way, harder than sarf. Nahu is harder than sarf. Sarf is a piece of cake. Nothing. Okay? I'm going to focus most of our energy on nahu in this class. Most of it. Now, we get to the class itself. What time does it begin? 7 o'clock. What time is open free review? 6:40. What am I emailing you every day? Transcript. Good. Now we can start class. Again, no writing yet. No writing yet. Don't write it down. I see you, sister. Brothers don't have that problem. We don't take notes. Okay. There are 3 kinds of words in Arabic. What are they? What did I write down? Ism, fi'l, harf. Again, what are they? I'm going to define them for you. We're not going to use English terms so much. I'm going to define them in Arabic or without giving you a term in English. I'll start with harf. That's the easiest one. Harf is the easiest one. Harf is a word that makes no sense, like your brother. A word that makes no sense until there's another word after it. Harf is a word, the definition is a word that makes no sense unless another word comes after it. So, if you get in a taxi and you say, the taxi driver says, "Where to, governor?" And you say, "To." To what? And you say, "To." To. This is the number? No, to. To by itself makes no sense. So to would be a what? Harf. It's kind of like prepositions in English. Does a make sense by itself? The makes sense by itself? In, at, with? Those words on their own, they don't make any sense. And similar to that, it's not only prepositions in Arabic, so I'm not going to use the word preposition. I'm going to stick with the definition. Harf is what? What did I say? A word that makes no sense unless another word comes after it. Okay, that's harf. Fine. Two definitions left. Fi'l. Fi'l is any word that is either telling you that it happened in the past, or it's telling you that it's happening in the present, or it's telling you that it's going to happen in the future. So a word that gives you time. A word that gives you time of some kind, either the past or the present. It's stuck in time. The past or the present or the future. What do we call that in English? Verbs. Very good. Some of you call them verbs. That gives away where you're from. Verbs. Yes, ma'am. The live feed is not on. It's not working. My tech team is also not working. Help. Okay. So, the fi'l is a word that's either in the past, or the present, or the future. There's going to be a confusion an hour from now, so I'll help you solve that confusion already. I'll preempt the strike. Okay? Here's what it is. Ate, slept, will, work, drinking, and yesterday. What do you think about ate? Is that a fi'l? Because it's stuck in the past. Good. Slept. Yes, because it's an act that happened in the past. Will work. Future. Drinking. It's happening in the present. What about yesterday? Yesterday is not a fi'l. Today is not a fi'l. Tomorrow is also not a fi'l. You know why? Because these are the names of days. They're not stuck in that time. They're naming a time. So they're still names, actually. The word for the day that came before today is what? The name of it is yesterday. The name of this day is today. And the name of the day that's coming next is tomorrow. So they're not actually words stuck in time. They are words for certain times. They are words for certain times. So don't be confused. Oh, but yesterday's in the past. Yes, it is. But it's not a fi'l. It's not a fi'l. Okay? But how about this? What do you think? Understands? Fi'l? Why? It's happening right now. It's happening right now. So it's in the, okay, so what's a fi'l then? Easy definition. A word in the past, present. What's a harf? I forgot. A word that doesn't make any sense until there's another word that comes after it. There was a third thing. Good. Ism. There are two definitions of ism. I'll give you the easy definition, then I'll give you the hard definition. Here's the easy definition. If it's not a fi'l and it's not a harf, it's an ism. It's true though. So when you heard yesterday, I put yesterday on the screen, right? Okay. Is that a harf? Because it makes sense. Is that a fi'l? No. What's left? Yesterday's an ism. Let's use that first definition some more. If I say apple, why? No, by the definition I gave you. It's not a harf. Because when someone says apple, I say, okay, it makes sense. Yeah, apple. It's not stuck in the past, present, or future. Right? So that's not it either. Oh, there's an inflow. What's happening? What's happening? Oh, they're no longer reserved. Okay, yeah, okay. What was I saying? Something about Arabic? Question? Sure. In English. In Arabic? Nah. They need something after. We say in English, I know who you're speaking to. But in Arabic, you cannot say, I know who you're speaking to. This is why your Arab friends, when they learn English, they don't like using to at the end of a sentence because they feel like it's an orphan. It needs something after it to say, I know who are you speaking to him. You know when they do that at the end? What you are talking about it? When they do that it's not because they speak bad English, it's because they're thinking in Arabic, and in Arabic, you can't just say about and just say nothing. It makes no sense. You have to put something after it, so say about it. Okay, so they add that pronoun. Now, tell me about the apple. Is it a harf? Is it a fi'l? Somebody says, no, but I ate it yesterday. That's in the past. My apple is in the past. No. No, that's not, your story doesn't matter. So apple must be a what? Good, must be an ism. Now let's look at the hard definition of ism. Again, no writing down yet. No writing down yet. Ism could be a person. Third grade English. Ism could be a person, place, thing. We're going to keep going. Idea, adjective, adverb, and more. Oh, that's a long definition. Let's go through it. Person, place, thing, idea. By the way, person, place, thing, idea, that's what they call a noun in English. They call that what? A noun. Should I call ism a noun? No, because if I called ism a noun, it would only be those four things. But is ism those four things? No. Ism is a person, a place, a thing, an idea. What else? An adjective, an adverb. It's okay if you don't know what an adverb is. I know for many of you, English class was like dental surgery. It's okay. I'll explain. Don't worry. Just look at the word right now. Don't be intimidated. Even adjective, if you know what an adjective is, that's fine. And on top of that, there's also another one, and more. Even more. So ism is a lot of stuff. Actually, ism is pretty hard. But let's make sure we understand. Let's give example of person. So we have something in our head. Person, call it out. What's that? That's very creative. Really thinking out of the box. Person, come on. Muhammad, very Islamic, very good. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Adam Alayhi Salam, good. Place, I know, Makkah, I got that. Anything else? Masjid, of course, of course. Houston, my favorite place. So sweaty. Huh? China? Okay. Okay, Tyler. You said Tyler, I know. You did, okay. Toilet. Whoa. It's that way, you take a left. Thing. Yo-yo, I like it. Book. Chair. Car. For some people, their car is a person. It happens. Okay, here's the hard one. Idea. Islam is an idea. Very good. What else? Huh? Education? Education is an idea. Very good. What else? Which ism? Secularism? Secularism. Okay. Young man all the way in the back. Give me an idea. Hadith? Cool. Idea. Yes. Christianity. Any name of a religion, it's an idea. It's a set of ideas, sure. But what else? Yes. Sports. Yeah, I can take that. Yeah. Science is an idea. Very cool. Yeah. Theory is an idea. It can also be sleeping, drinking. It's the idea of it. The thing where you get stuck with idea, let me give you something. Most ideas, many ideas, not all, but most ideas have some kind of a shun at the end. Like education and submission and fruition and tuition, yeah? I'll get to that. And they can have an ance at the end, like acceptance and tolerance, right? They'll have that, right? Sometimes they have, what else? If they start with a to, like to eat or to cry, those are ideas. To cry, because it's a combination of words, but that's an idea. And the tricky thing is, many ideas can also be with an ing. But the problem with the ing is we already used ing before somewhere else. Where did we use it? Fi'l. So now let's look at this. I am eating, right? And I love eating. Okay? I am eating and I love eating. Which one of these is a fi'l and which one of these is an ism? The first one is a, how do you know? Present. But I love eating, it's an idea. How will you know? If it's still confusing to you, I have a solution for you. If you see an ing word and you can replace it with ice cream, if you can replace it with what? Ice cream, then it's an idea. So if you say, I am ice cream, and you agree with that, see me after class. I know a couple of psychologists in the area. But if you say, I love ice cream, does that make sense? So the English language is a little weird. Sometimes the ing is a fi'l, and sometimes the ing is an ism. So if I say, they went, they hated hiking. What do you think? Huh? Ism? Sure. Sure. Why? Because you could put ice cream and they hated ice cream. What kind of evil people would do that? But they did. Some people do that. They hated ice cream. So yes, ing will be confusing. And sometimes you say, well, Ustad, it's an ing. It's a fi'l. And I say, no, this is one of those ice cream ings. So we'll call those the ice cream ings, okay? So sleeping could be, if I just gave you sleeping without any context, what's your answer? If I say, is this an ism or a fi'l or a harf? What would your answer be? Could be a fi'l. Could also be a ism. You with me? Okay, let's see whose memory is really good. An ism could be a, that's one. That's two. Idea. Adjective. Nice. Anything more? Okay. We did person, we did place, we did thing, we did idea. Now what are we going to do? Adjective. A blue car, what's the adjective? A large hall, what's the adjective? A loud microphone, what's the adjective? An old house, what's the adjective? Good, good. Colors are adjectives, size is adjectives, numbers can be adjectives. 50 people, 50 is the adjective. You with me? And so adverbs or adjectives are just descriptions, aren't they? They're just descriptions. And we'll dig into them when we start learning the Arabic. Anyway, let's talk about adverbs. Adverbs, don't write this down, are all the Lees except Bruce. Okay? Except Bruce and love. Okay? What do I mean? Nicely is a Lee. Happily, slowly, quickly, loudly, angrily, reluctantly, boringly. All the Lees. The only Lees that are not adverbs are what? Bruce Lee and Lovely. You know why? Bruce Lee is not an adjective because Bruce Lee is a, well, they're all isms, but Bruce Lee is not an adverb because Bruce Lee is a person. And lovely is not an adverb because lovely is an, what a lovely thing to say. What a lovely wrong answer you just gave me. Adjective. Adjective. Because you don't say, for example, and by the way, if you want love to be an adverb, it would have to be lovingly, not lovely. You don't say the grandma hugged her granddaughter lovely. That means the granddaughter's name is lovely. Lovingly. It's different. So, easy definition of adverb. All the lees except Bruce and love. Easy. No need to get technical. This is not what your English teacher taught you. The state in which the act occurs concurrently with the act and define. Just don't confuse it with Bruce and love, and you'll be good with adverbs. Okay. And what else is there? Person, go through it. Person, place, thing, idea, adjective. More. Good. And more. You know what? I'll tell you more later. There's more to it. We can wait for it. Now we have 3 definitions. What are the 3 words I just defined? Ism, fi'l, harf. What is the definition of ism? Including a, call it out again, it's okay. Person, place, thing, idea, adjective, adverb, more. By the way, some of you come from very high elite families. Like I was saying last night, you come from a good family and you are used to, your bourgeois, status quo. So when I say call it out, you sit there and say, make me. I shall not join these peasants. So you just sit there quietly. And then there are others of you who are totally zoned out, but you feel like you're left out. So when everybody's saying, person, place, thing, idea, you're like, but do try to participate. I need you to stay alive. This is not a khutbah, it's not a lecture, it's a class. Which means you will only learn when you learn to let your embarrassment go and speak out loud and make mistakes. Mistakes are glorious. It's okay. Ism is a what? Let's hear it. Person, place, thing, idea, adjective, adverb, and more. There's another definition of ism. If it ain't harf and it ain't fi'l, it's got to be, what's the definition of fi'l? Any word that happened in the past, or is happening in the present, or happening in the future. There's another definition of fi'l. If it ain't a harf and it ain't a ism, it's got to be a fi'l. What's a harf other than your cousin? A word that makes no sense unless there's another word after it. What's the other definition of harf? If it's not an ism, it's not a fi'l, it's got to be harf. When I open up the Quran, I start with the Fatiha, I end with an-Nas. Every word I read in the entire Quran is either an ism or a fi'l or a harf, and that's it. There's nothing else. There's no fourth kind of word. Every word is either an ism or a fi'l or a harf. You with me? If I say praise and thanks belongs to Allah. Praise and thanks belongs to, in English. Can you tell me what praise is? Because it's a what? Okay, ism is lots of things. Which ism is it? It's an idea. Very good. What's and? Why? Can't make sense without anything else. Thanks. Idea. Very good. Belongs. Fi'l. Why? It's in the present. Okay, to Allah. And we don't use the word person for Allah, but Allah is the being, the ultimate being. So Allah would be also what? An ism. Yes. With me? Okay. Can you label it for me? What's the ism? What's the fi'il? What's the harf? What's going on here? I is what? I is an ism, because I is a person. Good. Seek. That's a fi'il, because it's happening right now. Okay, good. Forgiveness. It's an ism. What kind of ism? Remember, from now on, it's not enough for me that it's an ism. I need to know what? What kind of ism? Is it person, place, thing, idea, adjective, adverb, or is it one of those more guys? Which one is it? Okay. What about from? Good. What about the word Allah? You guys are doing well. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to change your life. Inshallah. If Allah permits. Here we go. Actually, let me open up your book. You'll enjoy your book more. You have your books with you? Let's see if it's here. No, it's not here yet. Nope, I'll write it down. Okay. Just watch the screen. Again, no writing yet. Okay, we'll go through these one at a time. Can you guys see that? Okay, I'm going to make it a little bigger so everybody can see it more clearly. There are 3 words in every sentence. You don't have to know this, no writing down. This is a mental exercise. There's 3 words. Allama, you see allama every time or no? Okay, allama means taught. Allama means what? Taught. What kind of word is allama? Fi'il. Very good. Why is it a fi'il? Because it's in the... Good. Allama is a fi'il. Everybody clear? Okay. Ad-dars means the lesson. Ad-dars means the lesson. What kind of word is the lesson? An ism, because it's an idea. Good. Everybody clear? If you have questions, throw them out. Allama is what kind of word? Fi'il. Ad-dars is what kind of word? Ism. Al-ustadh, I use that word because you use that word for me all the time. Ustadh means what? What does it mean? Teacher. What kind of word is that? So there's 2 isms. What are the 2 isms? Ustadh and dars. And there's one fi'il which is allama. Now I've just kind of moved them around. Allama al-ustadh al-dars, al-ustadh allama al-dars, allama dars al-ustadh, ad-dars allama al-ustadh. Cool. Can somebody vote for me? What does the first one mean? Who taught who? Who taught what? The teacher taught the lesson. The teacher taught the lesson. Second one. The teacher taught the lesson. Okay, the third one. The lesson taught. No, the lesson taught the teacher. That's weird. What about the fourth one? The lesson taught the teacher. Huh. Now I'm going to give you a clue. Let's go to English for a second because I hope you still know English. Bob punched Joe. Joe kicked Bob. If I ask you, who did the punching in the first sentence? And if I asked you who did the kicking in the second sentence, whoever comes first must have done something. If I flipped them around and I said, Joe punched Bob, who would you blame? Joe. If I said Bob kicked Joe, who would you blame? Our English mind is programmed that whoever comes first in the sentence must have done something. You with me? The English mind says, who should have done something? The first one. Arabic is not like English. Let me give you a clue. So the words, the two isms are al-ustadh and ad-dars. If you hear oo at the end of any of them, if you hear what sound? Oo at the end of them, they must have done something. They did it. And if you hear an ah at the end of them, then they didn't do anything. Something was done to them. So if you hear an oo, they're a doer. But if you hear an ah, they're a done to, meaning something was done to them. I'm going to call them a done to. So there's a doer and a done to. You with me? Yes, question? Yeah, you can say direct object, but that will give everybody else diarrhea because that's a big word. But yes, if you're an English teacher, yes, a direct object. Very good. I'm avoiding all those terms right now. I'm just saying, ooh, ah, that's it. علم الأستاذ الدرس. Who did the teaching? How do you know? Ooh, must have done something. Ustad did. Al-ustadha, second sentence. Al-ustadha علم الدرس. Who did the teaching? The lesson taught the teacher. The lesson taught the teacher. How would I know? Because, ooh. And then you say, ah. Then you say, no, ooh. Ooh. علم الدرس الأستاذ. The third one. علم الدرس الأستاذ. Who's doing the teaching? How do you know? Ah, الأستاذ. Good job. What about the last one? الدرس علم الأستاذ. The lesson taught the teacher. How would I know who's doing something? U sound, ah sound. By the way, there are 3 sounds in Arabic. The U sound, the ah sound, and the E sound. And the U sound, there's a diet version and there's a fat version. The diet version is U, the fat version is un. And there's ah, and what else? An. And there's a E, and there's a in. That's why your Qari Sahab who used to come teach you when you were a kid used to say un, an, in, bun, ban, bin, tu, ta, ti, tun, tan, tin. I have a jun, jan, jin. Right? You heard those sounds over and over and over and over and over again because they actually have a purpose. They have a purpose. A word can be said in 3. You could say al-ustadhu, you can say al-ustadha, and you can also say what? Al-ustadhi. You can say it in 3 ways. Okay? Now, keeping with this, I haven't taught you any grammar yet. None. You haven't written anything down yet. Have you? Good. I want to keep it that way. We'll write stuff down after Maghrib. Right now, just watch this. Innama yakhshallaha. This is an ayah of the Quran. Min ibadihi al-ulama'u. And I will also write down وَقَتَلَ دَاوُودُ جَالُوتَ. And I will also write down وَإِذِ ابْتَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ رَبُّهُ بِكَلِمَاتٍ. Okay, now I'm going to highlight some words for you so you can focus. Okay, let's do this exercise together. إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء. The 2 words that I've highlighted are isms. They are what? Isms. One of them is the doer. I don't know the whole ayah. I don't know enough Arabic yet. But one of them is the doer, and the other one in the sentence is serving as a done to. Which one is the doer in the first line? Is it Allah, or is it the word Allah, or is it al-ulama? What's your proof? Ooh. Let me tell you what the ayah means. People of knowledge people of knowledge among His servants truly fear Allah. People of knowledge among His servants truly fear Allah. Who does the fearing? The people of knowledge among Allah's servants. Who do they fear? Who's the fear done to? That's why the word Allah is Allah. Ha. Now if somebody says, what's the reason for all these ooh, ah sounds? I can say Allahu. What difference does it make? Does it make a difference? Every haraka makes a difference now? Geez, that's a pretty kafiri thing to do on the flip side, isn't it? Okay, let's try this one. Well, there's two people that are mentioned, Dawood and Jalut. Qatala means killed. Qatala means killed. Wa qatala Dawudu Jaluta. My question is, who killed who? Dawood killed. If I say wa qatala Dawuda Jalutu, I just changed history. Well, ooh, ah. That's why your Hifdh teacher used to slap you a good one on the back of your head when he said, وَقَتَلَ دَاوُودَ جَالُوتَ. You killed the wrong one. Okay, let's try the last one. وَإِذِ ابْتَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ. Everybody knows what Ibrahim means. I don't have to translate Ibrahim. And everybody here knows what Rabb means. If I need to translate Rabb for you, see me after class. I'll introduce you to Islam. Okay? Is Ibrahim the doer, or is Rabb the doer in the sentence? Rabb is how do you know? Rabbu. You with me? وَإِذِ ابْتَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ رَبُّهُ. When his master, his Rabb, tested Ibrahim. Who did the testing? Allah did the testing. So Rabbu. Who did He test? Who was the test done to? Ibrahima. You with me? Make a little bit of a mistake, and what's going to happen? Kufr, shirk. It's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. You with me? So in English, how do you tell who did something in English? Whoever comes first. In Arabic, the Arabic language doesn't depend on the order of the sentence to give you the meaning. The Arabic language manipulates what? The end of a word. The end of a word. Now, I'm just going to, before your break, because I don't want you to have a breakdown in the salah. Yes, your question. No. No. This is, I've given you a drop, and then if you say, is this the way you swim in the ocean? No, wait. I just sprinkled a drop on your face. Don't jump in the ocean yet. You will drown. I don't want you to drown. So I'm going to tell you this. U does many things, including being the doer. Ah does many things, including being the done to. So don't think it's the only thing it does. It's one of the many things it does. As we learn more, we'll learn the other things too. So with that, I'm going to give you your first break. As we learn more, we'll learn the other things too. So with that, I'm going to give you your first break. Go enjoy salah. Alhamdulillah.
Alaikum, there's no tea allowed in the gym here, in the class area. Only water. No food and any other type of drink other than water. Jazakallah khair.
Okay, I'm starting in 1 minute. We can put the broadcast back on, inshallah. If I don't start, then you guys will keep socializing, and I'm on a timer. We've got work to do, so let me know when it's on. Oh, 2 minutes? Okay, 2 minutes. Any questions in the meantime, you guys? Anybody? Yes? Yeah. I'll tell you soon. Wait 2 days. You will know. Yes. Wait 7 days. Your question, 7 days. His question, 2 days. Anything else? Yes? Repeat I'll repeat everything. But which two? The last two things I wrote down? Who does many things? Yeah, so I just gave you, I wanted you to know that what I just shared with you, you can't use that on everything. I just gave you a little taste. So don't turn that into every time I hear, ooh, someone did something. Don't do that, okay? Any other questions before, we have a 1 minute before I start teaching? Yes? I can't hear anything you're saying. No, it can only be an ism. These are names of days. It's a name of an idea. It's a name of a time, therefore it's a name of an idea. Yeah. Yes. I will show you soon. I wanted to warm you up without any notes. But notes are coming. 30 seconds, any questions? Yes, yes ma'am. Okay. Yes, tell me. I didn't. Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let's begin. No questions anymore. We gotta get started. Sorry. I'm going to do a quick review of everything we've done because we have lots of work to do before 10 p.m. and I will get it done, inshallah. First things first. How many kinds of words are there in Arabic? 3 kinds of words. This is in your notebook. 3 kinds of words in Arabic. The definitions are already written. I didn't want you to write it down because I wrote it much nicely for you. Okay? Then it says, what are the alternative definitions of these words below? What do you think? Quickly. What's the alternative definition of ism? If it's not fi'l or harf. What's the alternative definition of fi'l? If it's not ism or harf. What's the alternative for harf? If it's not ism or fi'l. By elimination, because there's only 3 possibilities. Those of you that know a little bit about English grammar, there are 8 parts of speech in English. 8 parts. So distinguishing is a complicated task. In Arabic, at least that part is condensed to just 3. Because adjectives are a separate part of speech. Adverbs are a separate part of speech. There's lots of different parts of speech. But in Arabic, everything is juiced down to 3 basic parts. Ism, fi'l, harf. That's it. Okay? Now, table, quickly. Let's take a quick run through all of this. Ism, Dallas. Ism, jumps. I would argue, and somebody has to give me an example, I would argue I can use jumps as a fi'l, but sometimes I can use jumps as an ism. Can you give me an example of how I can use jumps as an ism? He jumps over the fence as a fi'l, because he does it right now, or in the present. But I want to use it as an ism, yes. Huh? He can do jumps. Very good. He can do jumps. Or he did 10 jumps. Or the coach in the gym says, give me 15 jumps. Those are going to be ism, right? So be careful. Just because you see an S. By the way, this happened with another kind of word, where it could be an ism and it could be a fi'l. Which kind of words in English was that? ING words. S words can be like that too sometimes too. Okay? From. Harf. Good. On. Harf. Good. A. At. Cake. Good. Ism. Ism. Country. Country is a harf because it doesn't make any sense to you. Country music makes no sense to you. I'd sell my tractor for you. Okay? Okay, but it's an ism. America. I'm going from the bottom up. America. Ism. Typing. Okay, it could be ism and it could be, I need an example for ism. I need an example for ism. I love typing. You took my ice cream example and you stuck with it. I like it. I love the commitment. I love typing. Or typing is easy. Okay? Typing is a good skill, etc., etc. All of that is, okay, that's an idea, so it's an ism. Give me the word typing as a fi'l. I am typing. Good. What's your example? He is typing? Good, I like it. He is typing. Students. Students are isms, even when they make no sense. Makkah. Ism, because it's a place. Freedom. Freedom is an idea. Freedom is an idea. Slept. Fi'l. Fi'l. Peace. Which, an idea is what? Idea is a fi'l, ism. Which one is it? I have no idea what you're saying. What is it? An ism because it's an idea. That's how you say it. An ism because it's an idea. Okay, of. Somebody said ism, make istighfar, go pray 2 extra rak'ah, come back. What is it? Harf. Good. Cats. Cats are isms. Good. Ooh, there's another line. Where am I going? There it is, last one. Let's just finish it. In. Okay, loudly. Ism. What kind of ism? Adverb. What are the 2 lees that are not adverbs? Bruce and love are not adverbs. Very good. Tall. Why? Adjective. Soundly. Ism because it's an adverb. Red. Ism because it's a mother. Ism. Person. Roller coaster. Ism. It's a thing. House. Ism. Smiles. Could be ism, could be fi'l, but you got to give me examples again. And you can't use I love. Give me the fi'l example. Show of hands, ladies, show of hands. Yes. He smiles. That's a fi'l. Give me smiles as an ism. Yes. Huh? No, I want ism one, yeah. You said I love smiles? I said don't use I love. There are so many smiles in this room. Ooh, like it. That's dramatic. Good. Okay. Smiles are part of? Smiles are part of the uniform? You took my smile away with that weird. Okay. Customer service. It's a slogan, customer service. That's what, the difference between airlines, Western airlines, and like Muslim country airlines is the flight attendants in Muslim country airlines are really scared to lose their job, and you can tell. So they're like, hello, I'm your flight attendant. I will do anything you ask me to get, and I will do and they have this zombie smile on their face. And in Western nations, they don't care if they lose their job, but they're all unionized. So they're like, you want water? You're going to have to wait. So yes, smiles are part of the uniform. Okay, now we move on. Every ism has 4 properties. That's what it says on your notebooks. Every ism has 4 properties. Now we're going to start working on the properties of the ism. I'm going to write this down and not explain it to you, but you're going to write this down with me. Number 1, over here. Number 1 in your notes is status. Status. Number 1 is what? Status. Okay? Number 2 is number. Number 1 is status. Number 2 is number. And number 3 is gender. And number 4 is type. I will say that again. Number 1 is status. Number 2 is number. Number 3 is gender. And number 4 is type. Okay, I want you to do this exercise with me. I want you to understand what I'm getting at. In order to understand the concept, today we are going to start the first subject, which is status. It'll take us 2 days to finish status. And the other 3, we will do them together by the 3rd day. So it takes me about a day and a half at least to do status, which is my job today. And then by the 3rd day of class, we will be done with status, number, gender, and type. And by the 3rd day, your first semester is over. This class is 3 semesters. The first semester is called the 4 properties of the ism. We're in the first semester right now, which ends in 3 days. And the goal will be what? 4 properties. What are the 4 properties? Status, number, gender, and type. And the hardest one is status, which is why we're doing it first. The hardest one we're going to do first. We're going to get that out of the way. The rest of our life is easy. Okay? Then we'll move on to 2nd semester and 3rd semester. But first semester is just 4 properties of the ism. And the first property is what? Status. Okay, now, I want you to understand this example. Actually, before I go to this example, because the answer is already on there, I want you to look at this. The Ustad taught us slowly. yesterday. Okay. The Arabic of the Quran. Okay, let's just use this example. Okay, Ustad taught us the Arabic of the Quran slowly yesterday. First of all, let's quickly get everything out of the way. You already know what the harf are. The harf are easy. What are the harf here? The, of. Okay, so we're good. Harf is done. Okay, I really want to make sure though you understand what the fi'l is. The fi'l is really important. Can you tell me where the fi'l is? Okay, I'm going to highlight the fi'l in yellow, so that's out of the picture. Okay? Now the only thing left then is isms. Ustad is an ism, Arabic is an ism, Quran is an ism, slowly is an ism, yesterday is an ism. Everybody clear? All the rest is isms, right? Now, any ism in Arabic has a label. Okay? A status label. It's called a status label. The status label is either, in simple language, either it is the doer, either it's what? The doer, or it's some kind of a detail. So it's the doer of the fi'l, or some details about the fi'l. That's two. And sometimes it's whatever comes after of. So there's three labels. The doer of the fi'l, the doer of the fi'l. So what's the fi'l here? Taught. So if you want to find the doer of the fi'l, you ask yourself, who did the teaching? Okay, that would be Ustad. The detail of the fi'l will be, who did he teach? Give me some details. Who did he teach? Okay, what did he teach? Arabic. How did he teach? When did he teach? All of those are details. Who did he teach? What did he teach? Where did he teach? When did he teach? How did he teach? If I say, yesterday, inside. I added another detail, didn't I? And each detail answers a different question. One detail is, who did he teach? One detail is, what did he teach? One detail is, how did he teach? One detail is, when did he teach? And one detail is, where did he teach? So who, what, when, where, how, right? And there can be even more, like why did he teach? It could be that too, okay? Now, what I want you to know is that whenever the question is formed, the word teaching has to be there. Because when I say doer, I mean doer of the fi'l. And when I say detail, I actually mean details about the fi'l. But let me ask you another question. So let me put this list of questions. Who taught? That's my doer, isn't it? What did he teach? Where did he teach? Give me more. When did he teach? Okay, what else? Where did, how did he teach? Okay? And we didn't do why in this sentence, but it can be there. Okay, so we've got who, what, where, when, how, right? But is the word teach always there? Taught, teach, 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 right? But if I said, for example, I'll change it a little bit. Ustad taught us the book of Allah slowly yesterday. If I say that, and then I ask another question. Whose book was it? Whose book was it? Is that a question about teaching? So don't just make any question and call it a detail. The only questions that can be called details are questions directly about the fi'l. They have to be about the fi'l. Whose book was it? That's not a question about the fi'l, is it? So that's not a detail. Okay? Now, every time you have a doer, we're not going to call him doer anymore. We're going to call him, what just happened? We're going to call him rafa'. Anytime somebody's a doer, we're going to call him what? Rafa'. That's a new word for you. No notes yet. I'll give you really good notes, trust me. Every time you find a doer, what are you going to call him? Rafa. Every time you find a detail of what? I keep saying it. Detail of what? Detail of the fi'l. Every time you find a detail, you're going to call it nasb. You're going to call it what? Nasb. And every time you find any word after OF, Book of Allah, Messenger of Allah, the religion of Islam, okay, the community of Muslims, anything that comes after OF, we're going to call it jar. 3 words now. What are they? Rafa', nasb, jar. Rafa' is for doer. Nasb is for what? Details. And jar is for what? After of. Now go to your text and let's look at this. Where's the fi'l? In the first one, a teacher entered the classroom. Where's the fi'l? You got to find the fi'l first for this exercise. You have to find the fi'l first because the fi'l will base all your questions. So who did the fi'l? That's why there's an R on top of it. What's the R for? Now you see why the R is there. What is the classroom doing here? Is it answering a detailed question? Is it a question about the fi'l? Can you construct the question for me? What did he enter? Where did he enter? So that would be a what, according to my discussion? That would be a nasb. A detail would be a nasb. The doer will be rafa', the detail will be nasb. Okay. A student of his was sleeping soundly. Who was doing the sleeping? So the student must be rafa'. Of his. Of his. Whatever comes after of will be jar. 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 You could be a little California head. That's jar. The first one's rafa'. The second one's jar. Okay. His is jar. Okay. Was sleeping soundly. That's how was he sleeping? Soundly. So that would be nasb. Why didn't I label sleep was sleeping? Why didn't I label was sleeping? Because that's this whole exercise, we don't label the fi'l. We only label the ism. We're only labeling the ism. Don't label the fi'l. The questions are based on the fi'l, but the fi'l is not the one that gets labeled. You with me? Let's do another one. The teacher threw a pencil. It's a story from my life. I was the student sleeping soundly. The teacher threw a pencil. Who's the rafa' here? Explain to me why. The answer is there. I don't care about the answer. I care if you understand the answer. He's the doer of throwing. So he's rafa'. What did he throw? That's a detail about what did he throw. So that would be nasb. Okay. The teacher's student woke up suddenly. Ooh, that's a hard one. It says the teacher's is J. What's J for? But that's not what I taught you. I taught you to find a J, what has to be there? It's as if the textbook is saying there is an of that's there. How dare the book say that? Because you can say the student of the teacher. So in English, sometimes they get rid of the of and flip it around. And I expect you to know enough English that when you see 2 words together, can you flip them and put an of in between, and then you can find the J. But usually when the of is there, the J is at the end. But when you flip it, the J goes in the beginning. So let's do some examples of that. If I say his house, what's J? His house. How do you find a J? How do you find a J? How do you find a jar? After you're looking for an of, right? Oh, sorry, of. You're looking for an of. Do you see an of in his house? I think you could find it though. Is there another way of saying his house? House of his. So spiritually speaking, his is J. The of, you can think of it in your head. If I say Allah's messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, can you find what's J here? So we're talking about grammar, right? We're talking about grammar. So we're not actually talking about Allah, right? So it's respectful to say the word Allah is J. It's wrong to say Allah is Jar. You understand? So respectfully, whenever Allah comes up, what do we say? The word Allah is Jar. The word Allah is Jar. This is a classical practice. Grammarians used to not say Allah is Rafa, Allah is Nasab, Allah is Jar. They would say Lafdul Jalala, meaning the word Allah is Jar. The word Allah is Nasab. So that's what we're going to do too. We're going to use not Allah, but the word Allah. So the word Allah is Jar here. Why? Because another way of saying Allah's messenger is messenger of Allah. Okay, now, the teacher's student woke up. Who did the act of waking up? Was it the teacher or the student who did the waking up? The student did the waking up. So the student is Rafa. You with me? And then suddenly, the detail has to be Nasab. But can you turn it into a question so I'm clear that that is a detail? How did the student wake up? Okay, I'm going to give you one. The TAs are here. They're going to identify themselves. Raise your hand, my TAs. Okay, they're going to raise their assistants in the class. Okay, I'm going to put a question on the page. I'm going to write an English sentence on the page. You're going to find me everything. First, you're going to find me all the isms, all the fi'ils, and all the harfs. Then you're going to find me the fi'il in particular. Then you're going to find me what's rafa, what's nasab, and what's jar. Easy, R and J. That's all you got to do. But write this sentence down. Yep. You have 1 minute. If you need help, TAs will make themselves available to you. You can discuss with each other. TAs should be walking around, not standing in a corner. Walk around. Walk in the aisles. Disturb people. Stare at their work. Make them feel awkward. Okay. 10 seconds. Show of hands. Don't call the answer out. Show of hands. What's the? Show of hands. Yes, sir. The. What's the? What is the? Good. It's a harf. Messenger. First, I want to know ism fi'l harf. That's all I want to know. Ism fi'l harf. Messenger. Ism. Of. Show of hands. Yes, young lady. Of. What kind of word is of? You who keep looking at your mom. Stop looking at your mom. Tell me. Harf. Good girl. Very good. Allah. All the way in the back. That's an ism. Very good. The word Allah is an ism. Taught. Taught. Don't call it out. Don't call it out. Yes? That's a fi'il. Very good. His. His. Ism. Why? Why is it an ism? Because it's a person. Good. Huh? His. It's a person. Companions? Yes? Good. Guy's side. Patiently. Patiently. Let's see this section. Yes, sir. Ism, why? Because it's not Bruce or love. It's an adverb. Good. Good. Okay, now, I need to know what's rafa' here, and what's nasb here, and what's jar here. What's rafa' here? Yes. Since you didn't raise your hand, I'm picking on you. That's what happens here, yeah. Welcome. You know, you should raise your hand because then you have a better chance of not being picked. So if you're afraid of being picked, raise your hand. Because I gauge your faces and I see who has the most nervous smile and then I pick them. Okay? Like you, sir. Yeah. Yeah. What's rafa', what's nasab, what's jar? Help me out here. Messenger is rafa' according to you. Okay, fine. Whatever you say. Go on. No, please go ahead. The word Allah? Yeah, you're still your turn. The word Allah is jar. Okay, whatever you say. His? You sound different today. Go ahead, you're still your turn. Yes. His is what? Who keeps talking to him? Yes. His is what? Why? Because that guy said it. Why is it jar? And somebody needs to explain this to me. I care less about answers. I care more about explanations. Yes, ma'am. Because companions of his. Because it's the of can be extrapolated. Nicely done. Good job. His is jar. Companions. Why? Why is it? Okay, nasab is the right answer. Why? If that means you know how to turn it into a question. That's how you prove it to me. Can you prove it to me? Who did he teach? Very good. Who did he teach? You know why his is not nasab? Because if you make it into a question, the question would be whose companions were they? The question would not have the word taught in it. So that couldn't be a detail. But what about patiently? Nasab. But what's the question that makes it nasab? How did he teach them? He taught them patiently. You with me? So, messenger is rafa'. Everybody clear? The word Allah is jar. Everybody clear? His is jar. Everybody clear? Okay, good. You're not clear. Let's go through his companions. Companions. If I say my car, another way of saying that is car of mine. His companions. Another way of saying is what? Companions of his. So in English, sometimes the of is obvious. Sometimes you have to figure it out. Okay? So English will not always use of. Sometimes it'll use that, this format. So we say the messenger of Allah. Now the of is obvious. But another way of saying it is Allah's messenger. So when you see Allah's messenger, you in your head have to convert it back into what? Messenger of Allah, then you'll find what's jar. Whatever's after of. Yes. It's coming. I wanted to get the English done. Now we do Arabic class. Because all this time, we've just been doing an English class, haven't we? It's time to get some Arabic going. If you hear u or un at the end of a word, it is rafa'. If you hear a or an at the end of a word, it is nasab. If you don't write this down, watch. E or in at the end of a word, it is jar. Listen carefully. Alhamdu. Fatiha. Alhamdu. My question to you is, did you hear rafa' or nasab or jar? Good. You heard rafa'. Lillahi. Did you hear rafa' or nasab or jar? Jar. Rabbi. Al-Alameen Ar-Rahmani. Ar-Rahimi. Maliki. Yawmi. Ad-Dini. Ihdina as-Sirat. Ta. Nasab. Al-Mustaqima. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غيري المغضوب ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى I'll leave you alone for that one. الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل إليهم وبالآخرة Okay, let's go to a surah you know. إِنَّا أَعْطَيْنَاكَ الْكَوْثَرَ. نصب. فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّي وانحر إن شانئ هو الأبتر قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد. This is going to be fun. لم يلد. Out of syllabus. Very good. It's not an ism. It's not don't worry about that. ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. That's a pretty jarring surah. It's all jar. Okay. ألم ترى كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل ألم يجعل كيدهم في تضليل جر وأرسل عليهم طيرا نصب أبابيل ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل فجعلهم كعصف مأكول. Cool. Now when you're standing in Salah, in Isha, Alhamdu rafa lillahi jar rabbi jar al-alamin. I'm going to mess you up. We say, Subhanallahi. You've heard that before? Subhana. Nasab. Allahi. Astaghfirullah. Allahu Akbaru. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallahu. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abdu wa rasuluhu. Hayya ala salati. Hayya ala al-falahi. قد قامت الصلاة. Cool. You cannot do this for every word. Do not try this at home. Okay? I have taught you how to swim in a baby swimming pool that inflates from Walmart. Do not jump off of the cliff and jump into the ocean thinking you're ready. Ustad, you told us un and an in, and I tried it myself and it didn't happen. We're getting started. It's just been 2 hours you learning Arabic? Easy, Tiger. Easy. But it's pretty cool, huh? At least you're standing in Salah now, and instead of wondering, this one goes this way, but that one goes that way. Or is that a cloud, or is that my grandmother? Now you can just say, Nasb, Jar, Rafa. Allahu Akbar. When you say salam, assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi, assalamu alaykum wa rahmatu Allahi. Pretty nice. Okay, you guys understand a little bit of Rafa Nasb Jar? I'm going to make it a little harder, because why would I leave you easy? If you hear u or un, that's what? Rafa. If you hear a or an, it's nasb. And if you hear e or what? E or what? In, it's jar. So far, right? Now listen carefully. If you hear ani, if you hear what? Ani, It's not just un and in. It's a whole package called ani. It's called ani. It means two rafa. Sorry, not up there. Ani means two rafa. Don't write this down. It's just element. I'm going to show you in the notes. You'll be happy. Trust me. U or un. Tell me what u or un means. What does a or an mean? What does e or in mean? If I tell you a word that has an ani at the end, ani, specifically ani, what do I mean by that? Whatever it is, there's two of them. Whatever it is, there's two of them, and they are what status? Rafa, because these are status. Rafa status, nasab status, jar status. If you hear ani, it's two of them, and they are rafa status. Okay. If you hear aini, if you hear what? Aini, then it could be two nasab, and it could also be two jar. Okay, if you hear ani, it's how many? Two rafa. If you hear aini, it could be two nasab and two jar. But if you just hear u or un, a or an, e or in, that's just your regular rafa, one nasab, one jar. But the ani or aini is two rafa, two nasab, two jar. Listen to Surah Al-Rahman. Allah says, وَمِن دُونِهِمَا جَنَّتَانِ جَنَّتَانِ. Did you hear an ani? Ani? What does that tell you? رَبُّ الْمَشْرِقَيْنِ رَبُّ الْمَشْرِقَيْنِ. Did you hear an aini? If you hear aini, what you going to say? Two nasab or two jar. But Ustad, how am I supposed to know if it's two nasab or two jar? How will I know? How many hours you been studying Arabic? Can you calm down a little bit? You should thank Allah. Allah only made two nasab and two jar the same instead of making you memorize the third thing. And by day 4, you will know. This is day 1. By day 4, you will know when it's two nasab and when it's two jar. You won't need my help after that. Right now, it's the same one. Alhamdulillah, it's the same one. Ani means what? Okay, let me give you an exercise. Masjid. Everybody knows the word masjid. How do I say, and I'm not going to use, I'm going to use the ones that have an N at the end, like un and in. I'm going to use that one. Masjid, rafa' version. I want masjid, rafa' version. One masjid. Masjidun. Masjidun. I want one masjid, nasab version. Masjidan. Good. I want one masjid, jar version. Masjidin. I want two masjids, but I want ketchup with that. I want two masjids, rafa version. Two masjids, rafa version. Masjidani. I want two masjids, jar version. Masjidaini. I want two masjids, nasab version. Cool. Muslim. I want two Muslims, jar version. Show of hands. Two Muslims, jar version. Yes, ma'am. Muslimaini. Muslimaini is correct. Kitab means book. Kitab means what? Book. I want two books, rafa' version. Two books, rafa' version. Yes, sir. Yes, two rafa'. Kitabani. Excellent job. Kitabani. I just want one book. I don't want two books. I want one book in jar form. One book, jar. Way in the back. Nobody behind you. That doesn't mean that you're the last person in class academically, but there's literally no one behind you. Okay, go ahead. Kitabin. Excellent. Kitabin. This is going to hurt your brain, but I love it. I love this torture. Wait. Okay. I don't want you to convert this to Arabic. You don't know Arabic like that. But I give you, there's multiple choice. You can say masjidun, or you can say masjidan, or you can say masjidin. 3 choices. The first sentence is, a masjid announced the start of Ramadan. Which of these 3 is the Arab going to use? Masjid, masjidun, masjidun. I saw a masjid. Who's the doer here? Who's the doer here? I'm the doer. So masjid is a detail of what I saw, and the details are what status? So I gotta make it nasab. What am I gonna say? Masjidan. When do you use rafa? You use rafa, or un, when it's the doer. When do you use nasab? When it's the detail of the act. What about the third one? The imam of a masjid is well respected. What's the masjid doing here? It's after of, isn't it? So what am I going to use? Masjid. Let me change it. Two masjids announced. I saw 2 masjids. And the imam of 2 masjids are. The imams of 2 masjids are well respected. Okay, let's start over. 2 masjids announced the start of Ramadan. How do I say 2 masjids, but also make them the doer? Meaning also make them rafa. 2 are. Masjid. Excellent. Masjidani is correct Arabic. I saw 2 masjids. That's a detail. How do you say 2 masjids in nasab form? Masjidaini. And the imams of 2 masjids are still after of. How do I take 2 masjids and make them jar form? You guys are starting to learn Arabic grammar. You know the difference between masjidun, masjidan, masjidin, and masjidani, and masjidaini, and masjidaini. Pretty sweet. Now it's time for you to memorize your first lesson. Then we'll take notes. I want you to go to page 6. I'll explain this to you. This is going to be lots of fun. Read the first one on the top right. Muslimun. Say that for me. What do you think that is? It's rafa. I want you to put the words 1 R inside that box. 1 R. Muslimun is 1 R. 1 rafa. Page 6, everyone. Musliman. What do you think I should put in there? Right underneath it. Musliman. 1 what? 1 N. You notice how Musliman is written different from Muslimun? What's different about it? Yeah, whenever they write an, they write an extra alif, which they don't do anything with, but they like to write it. If you have a problem with that, I'll get you the fax number for the Saudi embassy and you can discuss the issue with them. But it's their language. They decided the spelling. I didn't decide that an E goes at the end of table. And why they don't say tabli? It's their language. They spell it. They have a standard. They put an alif when they write an. Okay? So Muslimun is 1 R. Musliman is what? 1 N. What's Muslimin? 1 J. I call these ending sounds. These are ending what? Sounds. But in the next column, you see Muslimani. Muslimani. Is that just an ending sound? Is that just a single sound? No, it's a combination of letters, isn't it? Alif and Noon and Ani, the whole thing, the package. I call those ending combinations. Ending what? Combinations. So I'm going to say this one is, what should I put in that box? Muslimani. 2 is not enough. 2 R. 2 R. And what am I going to put in? Muslimaini. 2 N. 2 N. And what am I going to put in the bottom one? 2 J. They're the same. They're the same. The 2 N and the 2 J look the same. How will you know the difference? Wait 2 days. You'll know the difference. You got to wait day 4. After 2 days, inshallah, we'll get there. Okay. Now we get to the third column. What does it say? Muslimuna. We're going to call this 3R. We're going to call this what? 3R. What are we going to call Muslimina? What do you think? So far, It was 1R, 1N, 1J. 2R, 2N, 2J. What am I going to do with Muslimuna? 3R. What's Muslimina? 3N. And what's the last one? 3J. Which one are the same? The nasab and the jar are the same for 2. And the nasab and the jar are the same for more than 2. 3 means more than 2, any more than 2. So in English, we have book and books, yeah? But in Arabic, you have book, bukani, and then bukuna. Okay? They have 3. They have 1, 2, and then plural. They don't just have singular and plural. They have singular, 2, pair, and then plural. You with me? Okay. So what this tells you is in Arabic, there are sometimes ending sounds, and there are sometimes ending what? Combinations. Combinations are used for how many? Either 2 or for plural. So let's see if we can do this together. Say this with me. It's going to take 8 minutes to do this. Say this, repeat after me, out loud. Muslimun, musliman, muslimin. Good. Muslimun, musliman, muslimin. You have to know this. This is not homework. You cannot leave here without knowing this by heart. And you have to do it exactly how I'm doing it. You cannot change the order. This is sacred. You cannot say Musliman, Muslimin, Muslimun. No. Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin. Again. Now we will add Muslimani, Muslimaini, Muslimaini. Let's start over. Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin. Muslimani, Muslimaini, Muslimaini. All of them together now. Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin, Muslimani, Muslimaini, Muslimaini. Look at it and do it for now. Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin, Muslimani, Muslimaini, Muslimaini. It's easy. An, in, ani, aini, aini. That's all it is. An, in, ani, aini, aini. That's all it is. Because the first word is Muslim. You already know Muslims. That's not the hard part. It's just an, in, ani, aini, aini. Okay? Now let's try this. Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin. Muslimani, Muslimaini, Muslimaini. Muslimuna, Muslimina, Muslimina. Try the whole thing. Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin. Muslimani, Muslimaini, Muslimaini. Muslimuna, Muslimina, Muslimina. Any volunteers? Go ahead. Have you done it before? Yes, you. Have you done it before? Okay, do it. Excellent job. Very good. Guys, we got to tie the score. We can't let them. No. Come on. Fellas, come on. They always win. I'm tired. Can we get 1 W? Yes. Have you done it before? Okay, good. Good job. Everybody all together. Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin, Muslimani, Muslimaini, Muslimaini, Muslimuna, Muslimina, Muslimina. Take 1 minute, recite it to the person next to you. They will recite it back to you from memory. Go. Repeat until you get it. Come on. No time to delay. you should be saying nothing else. The only thing coming out of your mouth is something about Muslims. That's it. Everybody needs to know. Muslimun, come on. 20 seconds. Okay, back with me. Easy way to remember this, folks. Easy way to remember this. 3, 3, and 3. Don't think of them as 9. Think of them as 3, 3, and 3. What's the first one? Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin. What's the second set? Muslimani, Muslimaini, Muslimaini. What's the third set? Muslimuna, Muslimina, Muslimina. Why do we say 3 each time? The first one of each group is always rafa. The next one's always nasab, and the third one's always jar. Why do we have 3 groups? Because the first one is for 1, the second group is for 2, and the third group is for 3. That's the grid. Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin, Muslimani, Muslimaini, Muslimaini, Muslimuna, Muslimina, Muslimina. Okay? So sometimes a word ends with an ending sound. Sometimes it ends with an ending combination. Now here's the key for today's training. You must look for combinations first. You must always look for combinations first. And if you don't find a combination, then you can trust the ending sound. You cannot trust the ending sounds. You must make sure that you're not looking at a what? A combination. So our first check is not sound. Our first check is always combination. And if you find a combination, then you know what to do. If you don't find a combination, then you can use ending sound. Look at this one, Muslimuna. I'm going to zoom in on this one. Imagine you didn't check for, what are you supposed to check for first, sound or combination? Okay, this combination is una. Una tells you it's from the plural column, so it's plural, more than 2, and it's what status? Because it's the first one, Muslimuna, Muslimina, Muslimina, so that's the first one. This is plural rafa. But if you didn't check for the combination, and you just heard this word, and somebody said Muslimu na, and you said, oh, I hear ah, what would you think? It's one nasab. Your answer would be completely wrong because you looked at what first? You looked at sound first. You always have to look at what first? Combination comes first, always, okay? That's why we memorize these, because we have to know them. We have to know them and recognize them in the Quran. So now I'm going to put you to the test a little bit. And I want you to do this yourself first for a little bit, and then I want you to do this with me. Look at page 5. Page 5. Number 1. My question is, An-Nas, that's number 1 on question page 5. An-Nasu, is that a sound or a combination? Good. Now you can tell what status it is. What is it? It's rafa. Very good. All the words here on this page are taken from the Quran. I have taken no words from outside the Quran. This is all Quran words. Okay? An-Nasu is from the Quran, and this is now rafa. Everybody clear? You should know not just what is it, but is it sound or combination also? Nafsin. Sound and what status? Jar. This one is jar. Everybody clear? Muslimun, Musliman, and this matches Muslimin. Yes, sir. Okay, you're not clear about sound versus combination. Let me explain. Let me put this in another way. Okay, so if you hear un, an, or in, or you hear u, a, or e, that's called sound. Okay? If you hear ani, or aini, or una, or ina, that will be called what? Combination. And so, and ani and aini, the first two, ani and aini are for twos, and una and ina are for plurals. And you know the difference. Ani is 2 rafa, and aini is 2 nasab jar. And then una and ina are plural. Una is plural rafa, and ina is plural nasab or jar. I'm saying when you look at a word, make sure check for this first. When you're done, make sure it's not there, then you can trust the sound. Okay? Good question. All right. واحدة. Sound? Jar? Sure? Good job. The word Allah. No, the word Allah is not rafa. Muslimun is rafa. Musliman is, this is closer to man, isn't it? It's a sound. That'll be nasab. Okay, let me go up top again. Let me go over one column. Number 2 here. Al-kitaba. What do you say? Sound. What status should I give it? What should be the answer? Nasb. Very good. We don't say nasab. Nasab lives in Faisalabad. Arabic is nasb. So rafa is dafa. And nasab is not a word. Rafa. Rafa, nasb, jar. Okay? Al-kitab is what then? It's what status? I don't know. I don't hear you. Sound nasb. Good. Makithina. Surah Al-Kahf. Do you hear a combination? Once you hear a combination, it could be from the 2 column or from the 3 column. You got to figure that out yourself. Is it 3? So now in the 3 column, there is 3 of them. Muslimuna, Muslimina, Muslimina. I got to know which one. So what's my answer here? It could be 3 nasab or jar. The answer is 3 New Jersey. Very good. Okay. Iwajan. What do you think? Sound and nasab. Very good. Okay, from number 8 to number 14. Do them with each other. TAs go around. Number 8 to number 14. Figure them out yourselves. And then I'll discuss them with you. I'll give you 4 minutes. I can't give you guys that much time because the salah is early today. It's at 9:45. So we got to wrap this up. And I still haven't given you notes, and I need to give you notes. Yes? Two rafa, yeah. We'll get there. I'll explain that. The time will come for it, inshallah. Okay, quickly. Al-banuna, sound or combination? Combination. Which one? Plural R. Very good. Al-khabitha. What's the answer? Al-khabitha, number 9. Yeah, 1 nasab. 1 nasab. Okay. What's the answer for al-bahraini? 2 N or J. Aini is 2N or 2J. Very good. I'm looking at number 12 because it's closer for me. Number 12. Sabiran. 1 what? Because it's like Musliman, right? 1 nasab. Very good. As-safinati. 1 jar. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, huban. That's sound, yes? What status? 1 what? Nasab. Excellent. Bit-tayyibi. 1 jar. Take some notes. Before I let you go, I'm going to give you some notes. Is that making sense to you now? We started with everything, ism fi'l harf. Then we said we're going to study the ism. And I didn't explain everything, but I said we're going to study status, number, gender, and type. And we already started studying status without me giving you any notes for status. Now I'm going to give you notes for status. Briefly, only up until what we've done so far. Okay? Number one, there are 3, or 4A, you can say it 4A. There are 3 forms of status, which are rafa, what else? Nasb, and what else? Jar. Okay? Rafa is for doer and more. Nasb is for detail and more. And jar is for after of and more. I'm not giving you the and more because you don't know these guys that well yet. You just got to know Rafa. So I'm just telling you one thing about Rafa. When you get to know your friend after a while, says, by the way, I have a part-time job too. I sometimes do this, this, this. If somebody tells you too much about themselves on the first day, they're a weirdo. Get away from them. Okay? So right now, you know one thing about each. What do you know about Rafa? It's doer, but there's more to Rafa. He's got an interesting personality. He does a bunch of stuff. Nasab, one thing at least you know about Nasab is what? It's a detail, but there are more things you will learn. Jar, one thing you know is what? After of, but there will be more things you will learn, okay? So that's your lesson A. We've already done this lesson. Rafa, Nasab, and Jar. B is how to tell status. Good. You can tell by ending sounds. U or un is what? Rafa. A or an is nasab. And E or in is jar. Right? That's one way you can tell. What's another way you can tell? Ending combinations. Ani to Rafa. And Aini to New Jersey. Right? Could be two nasab or two jar. What other ending combinations do we know? Una could be 3 rafa. And ina could be 3 nasab or jar. And to remember all of this, memorize page 6. What's page 6? Muslimun. With me. Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin, Muslimani, Muslimaini, Muslimaini, Muslimuna, Muslimina, Muslimina. That's what you memorized. We have reached this point in class. This is the point we reached in class. The salah is gonna start. You're gonna hear Alhamdu, status, quickly. Lillahi, Rabbi. Listen carefully. Al-alamina, Al-alamina. Sound or combination? Sound combination is not a word. 3 New Jersey. 3, it could be plural nasab or it could be plural jar. But it says master of all nations and peoples. Of. It's after of. So it's 3 what? It's 3 for jar. Ar-Rahmani. Allah's name, Ar-Rahmani. That's not a combination, it's part of His name. Like my name is not 2 gnomes. My name Nouman. Okay? 1 jar. Ar-Rahimi. Maliki. Yawmi. Ad-Dini. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'inu are fi'l. You don't have to worry about those. Ihdina sirata. Al-mustaqima. Sirata al-ladhina. Sirata al-ladhina. Could be nasab or jar. Plural. أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين إينا. Plural, nasab, or is there some brain activity that's going to begin now when you read Quran or hear Quran? I mean, you don't know if it's an ism or a fi'l or a harf. You don't have the vocabulary. But are some of these endings going to start messing with your head now? Inshallah. I hope to ruin your concentration by doing this. But this is huge progress. Inshallah, tomorrow, what time will I be here? I'm going to be here. No, I'm not going to be here at 7. I'm going to be here at 6:30 for Asr. And right after Asr, I'm here for open QA. Class officially starts at 7. Don't be late because the hardest parts I cover in the beginning. I don't review and nice in the beginning. I do the hardest parts in the beginning. See you guys tomorrow in class. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is notes. This is notes for you, yes. Okay. Here's the whole thing if you want to take a picture. That's the whole thing. Oh, it's too bright.